Hey everyone, this is Trey Carpenter, men's golf coach here at Nevada. We've got Hall of Famer Kirk Triplett in town for our inaugural Wolfpack Pro-Am at Montreux. Why don't you start us off with how'd you get playing golf back in the day?
Well, first of all, thanks. It's great to be back at Montreux. Played some pro tournaments here, Reno Open, a couple others. But yeah, I've had a long career in professional golf, but it all started as a family sport. I have a younger brother who also played at University of Nevada for a couple of years, and a younger sister, and our family was always looking for something to do on vacation. And we were kind of juggling, should we ski, should we golf? Of course, little did we know we could have come to Reno and done both, but we chose golf, and kind of after Little League Baseball, we got really involved in junior golf, and that's how I ended up playing golf for a living.
So was the skiing what brought you to Nevada, or how'd you get to Nevada?
No, I wrote to a whole bunch of West Coast schools. I wanted to stay on the West Coast. I wanted a school with a good engineering program. I wanted a school that played in a lot of good tournaments, a school that was competitive, but also a school where I had a chance to play, right? I knew as my skill level, I probably wasn't going to go to a UCLA or an Arizona State and, get a chance to play my first couple of years. So I eventually really narrowed it down to University of Pacific in Stockton and University of Nevada. And we took a family trip down here, visited both schools, and Reno was more exciting than Stockton. Really liked the campus and liked the town, and that was one of the major reasons. That and the Mackey School of Mines is what I started out in.
What was your experience like? Did you come here and crush it right away? Did you struggle to make in the lineup? What was that transition like?
Well, we had a lot of new guys. There was a real turnover at times. We had about 2 or 3 pretty good players that were remaining. Michael Allen obviously was one, Danny Banky was another, but there was myself, Matt Plumley, and Dean Minetti, kind of 3, and another fellow, Derek Tartaglia. 4 incoming freshmen who were really, all of us were going to get chances to play. So when I came down, my personal experience, loved the guys on the team. We all became good friends. We had nice chemistry. But it was a big adjustment for me, 1, coming to the elevation to play, but 2, being a long ways away from home, for the first time by myself. So it really took me until Thanksgiving to really get my footing. I was doing well in school, so that was comforting, and then kind of just had some time off over the winter, came back, knew the things I needed to work on to make the team, and I did a nice job in the spring and really was one of the regular players kind of from the middle of my freshman year on.
What was the transition like from Nevada to professional golf? Was it right to Q school and you figured out? Was it bouncing back and forth on mini tours? What did that look like to get to professional golf?
Well, I had a gap year basically because I played 4 years in school and college golf, but then I still had a year left to get my degree. I really didn't have that much intention to turn pro. I mean, it was in the back of my mind, but my number one priority, I came to school to get a degree, to get an engineering degree. And really, even after I had finished my collegiate career and had some success, I wasn't knocking down the door to get out there and play professional golf. I wanted to get my degree. So I finished up in civil engineering. I had a number of good job offers, played some nice golf in the summer, qualified for the USAM a couple times, looked at a few places to work, Boeing, and I had a job offer from a golf course architect. And then I just thought, I've never put my whole energy into professional golf. I think I'm going to try it. And I had some help from a local businessman, Scott Hickey, helped me out. There was another real estate agent here in town. He helped me out, and they kind of got me started financially. And I was able to kind of parlay it into a full-time career.
Sweet. So did you make it through Q school, or what did the specific logistics look like back then?
It took me, I went to Q school 4 times, made it on the 4th try. And that time it was once a year, but you got straight onto the tour. There was no Korn Ferry Tour as we know it now. So when you would miss, it was a scramble. You had to figure out, where am I going to go play? Am I going to play on the West Coast on the mini tours? Am I going to go to Florida? For me, after a year or two of doing mini tours, I looked at the players that were not only getting to the PGA Tour, but who were having success on the PGA Tour, right? Guys like Corey Pavin, guys like Payne Stewart. These were guys that had played either Europe or Asia and sort of learned that professional structure, right, of a week-to-week tournaments, not sleeping in your own bed, traveling, making your arrangements, dealing with all of the things that professional golfers deal with that you don't see when you watch them on TV on Sundays.
That we do when you're in college.
Right. So for me, I ended up playing in Asia, I played in Australia, I played the Canadian Tour. I was exempt on all of those tours for a couple of years, won tournaments up there, learned how to compete, learned what it meant to be a professional. Then when I got my card in 1989, I never lost it. I was ready. I had done my preparation, not on the PGA Tour, but on the lower level tours.
What would you, I guess I'll parlay that into, what would you attribute that to? And what advice would you pass on to, maybe one of our guys looking to pursue professional golf? Like, how do you get in the door and stay there?
Well, there's probably the number one thing is to understand who you are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, right? And to put yourself in position to take advantage of your strengths. My strengths are organization, critical thinking, right? Like, I'm not the greatest athlete or, the smoothest, most best golf swing or anything, but I know how to manage my own game around the golf course, right? And as long as I stick to that, I'm okay, right? But I'm good at understanding, right, just the simplest things of entering a tournament, how to get somewhere, and all of those things early on in your career. Those can be daunting and a roadblock for some players. So if you don't have those skills, you have to find somebody to help you with those things. Right, but it's knowing what you're good at and putting yourself in position to execute the things that you're good at. Right, that's especially true on the golf course.
How long have you been playing professional golf now? Would you say you started 80?
I turned pro in the fall of 1985.
Okay.
Yeah, banged around on the mini tours, played the Golden State Tour, Southern California, lived in Palm Springs. Kind of went down there with a Honda Civic full of my belongings and hooked up with another guy and I found a course that would let me play and practice as long as I helped out at the end of the day, and that seemed like a very fair trade. I hung out at Mission Hills where they played the Dinah Shore tournament forever, so got to have a great practice facility, a great area that was just really into golf, and then there was competition 2 hours away in LA. And really that was my great introduction to professional golf of, okay, if you can beat these guys and learn to beat these guys and get better, right, then you can take the next steps. And the next steps for me were the foreign tours, the Canadian Tour, the Australian Tour, the Asian Tour. And those tours at that time were the tours that were one step below the PGA Tour, right, because there was no Corn Ferry Tour. And that's where I learned. That's where I learned my game.
So you've been playing professional golf most of your life.
40, well, yeah, it's a better answer to your question. 40 years as a professional
40
golfer.
years?
Yeah.
So what's next? What's the end of your career and beyond look like? What are you passionate about? What do you enjoy doing when golf's over?
Well, I've got a book full of ideas, but every time I try and, maybe think, okay, if I want to do this, that's going to require X amount of my time, right? I'm still a competitive golfer, which requires almost all of my time. So every time I think about doing something else, I always come back to, what are the reasons that you were good? You put 100% of your attention on being a tournament golfer. So I don't know what that
You'll
list...
keep going all in on golf until you can't, and then you'll figure that one out?
Right. I'll keep making the lists, but I'm not going to act on them until the day I plant my flag and say that was my last one.
Yeah. What about any funny, crazy stories we may not know about a former teammates back in the day? I know a group of you are still pretty close, that early 80s crowd. A lot of them are still here in Reno and play golf a lot, and you keep in touch with that crowd. Anything we could share?
It's the fact that you cannot see a guy for 10 years. You can go out on the golf course, you can go into the bar, you can go have dinner, and you will fall right back into the patterns that you had when you were best friends, right? And you were all doing the same things. And I think that's the beauty of the game. That's the beauty of being on a team. And I tell all these young kids when I talk to high school players, and I say, you may not think right now that these teammates are going to be your long lost friends in 20 years, but they're going to be. And you will know so much about each other just from having played golf together, right? That you will be comfortable and you will have these lifelong friendships. And it couldn't be truer. 10:30 last night, I rolled into town, went to my friend Kevin Hall's house, and we chatted for 15 minutes. And I hadn't seen him in a couple years, but it's like it's like we were on the phone together every week.
That's awesome. Yeah, I try to, when we recruit guys, it's a 40-year commitment, ideally, not a 4-year one. Right? I want guys to come here and have a good experience and get to meet people like yourself and former players, and then this be a place that they want to stay, right? And then 20, 30, 40 years from now, they're sitting in your seat helping out, and we appreciate you being here today, and you're in the middle of back-to-back weeks on the Champions Tour, so we appreciate you making the pit stop. Maybe talk about, you could have easily said, no, I'm too busy. Why did you make the decision to come back today?
Well, I did. All the reasons that you're talking about. It's important. I know you're trying to get something off the ground here, and it's been tried multiple times in the past with varying degrees of success. And one of the things that will make it go is participation, right? It's not always a checkbook. It's not always, what do I have to give? It's, I just want to be a part of it, right? And share how the team's doing, be more informed, and touch base with the guys that I played with, the guys that played before me, and the guys that played after. I think that's a great group of people to have some relationships with.
When was the last time you were in town?
Look, I'm 63 years old, and I am always shocked at, gosh, it's been this long since I did something, and it was no exception. Last night at 10:30, I'm coming down what I call 395 and everybody else calls 580, right? Because it's been that long. But I'm just wondering, gosh, that wasn't there, or that wasn't there, and when was the last time I was here? And I'm thinking, oh, it's just a few years, 4 or 5 years. And then we start thinking about it. No, it's 10, 15 years slips by, starts going fast. So thank you for having an event like this. Thank you for inviting me, and really looking forward to it.
I appreciate you making the trip.
Yeah.
Thank you.